Hey y'all, it's Laz, and I'm doing something a little bit different since I'm not quite in a position to pay an editor or have one really, since it takes a long time to do the kind of content I normally do and involves a lot of editing, that takes a couple of days, and I write the scripts as well. That takes time that I don't necessarily have, and I want to produce more content more often, so you're going to see me doing a lot more of this, going through, being, person to person, or I guess over YouTube person, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean, I hope. And we're going to go through the articles that I find interesting for, that moment in time, and I'll talk about them, break down some facts, and be like, hey, this is why this is a thing, or whatever. I've seen other YouTubers do it, they're really successful at it, they're really good at it, I have a lot of respect for them. And I want to make content on my YouTube, and I want to produce something for people to look at. So that being said, we're going to get started and go into this. And today we're talking about the Capcom producer, talking about how if they want a Resident Evil 3 remake, fans need to speak up. And that's just Resident Evil 3. You'll see in the article it talks about Resident Evil 8 as well. So, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Let's just bring up some information. Yeah. If fans want another entry in the Resident Evil saga to be remade, Capcom says they need to make their voices heard. Capcom's remake of Resident Evil 2 has only been on a few mere days, but for a lot of fans, the question has already become, what's next for Resident Evil? While it would seem logical for Capcom to continue on with the franchise in a potential Resident Evil 8 following up the success of 2017's Resident Evil 7, some fans seem to be so smitten with the new RE2 remake that now all they wanted to see is the same treatment for older games in the series, specifically that of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And I can relate to that. Me and my cousin would play Resident Evil 3 Nemesis all the time. He'd come over, he'd play it really. I was not very good at games growing up, but I still had a big passion for them, and I've hopefully gotten better since I was like 9 or 10. But he would come over, we'd play it, and he would play it mostly, but we'd go through it, and I'd sit there and enjoy watching, and he would try and beat a certain time, or try and unlock a certain thing, and I think the only thing we never unlocked, either through playing Mercenaries or through the story mode, was the Gatling gun, the infinite Gatling gun. I think that's the only thing we missed. I think we got the infinite rocket launcher, and I think we got the infinite everything else you think of. Pistol, I can't remember all the weapons, so please forgive me. But continuing on, it says that, well, if we want to see that happen, then Capcom is saying that we need to make our voice heard. And he's saying that, he being the producer, saying, while speaking to Japanese publication Game Watch recently, Resident Evil 2 producer Yoshiaki Hirabashi spoke a bit about the potential of remaking another entry in the series. Hirabayashi, I do not mean to butcher this man's name, said that the reason Capcom decided to specifically remake Resident Evil 2 this time around was that for over 20 years, fans made it well known that this is what they wanted to see happen. A remake, a remastered, a redefined Resident Evil 2, because it did define the horror genre. Resident Evil in general really brought out the best in what you would see for horror games. Continuing with the article though, essentially, Resident Evil 2 being remade in the first place was because of fan desire. Hirabayashi said that if players like the RE2 remake, and if they want to see as a remake of Resident Evil 3, they need to once again make their voices heard. This goes for an entry in the series as well. Any entry in the series as well, not just that of Resident Evil 3. And he continues on saying Resident Evil 3 would be the next best entry, and talking about how Mr. X would be the best, is the best for RE2, but to have that RE3 Nemesis experience where it's really terrifying. He's a very improved, much more intimidating guy than he was in RE2. At least if I was to compare back then RE2 to the back then RE3, and then take that and think of what RE2 and RE3 compared today would look like. Wow. Nemesis was very terrifying, and even playing Mr. X, or playing RE2 and going through and encountering Mr. X for the first time was terrifying this time, because I've never encountered him. I didn't know what to expect. So having that same experience would be great. There was a clip I made on my Twitch where I panicked because I don't know if it was him, if it was Liquor, or if it was just a general zombie. But there was a very close moment where my game almost ended with a death. Well, not permanently, but I would have had to gone back and done some stuff. But yeah, that's where that article ends. But I want to talk about them talking about making having fans make their voices heard, right? So we'll start with this one from gamesindustry.biz. This one talks about how Resident Evil 2 debuts at #1 in the UK. Again, talking about, 20 years after the original release, it has done it yet again. And you can see down here, new entry last week, this week, as of Sunday, the 27th of January, 2019. Obviously, Resident Evil 2, #1. Red Dead Redemption for that week was #2. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was #3. New Super Mario Bros. U was 4. And it goes down in FIFA 19. Of course, FIFA 19's huge in Europe. It doesn't matter what country it's in. It's always huge. But they talk about how it debuted at #1 again in Europe. Then they talk about, this one's the next one. Then they talk about shipping 3 million copies, but selling a total of 6 million copies, right? And you can see there the title, which is impressive. The signs that Capcom had another hit after the huge success of Monster Hunter World, which is still one of the top played games on Steam, surprisingly. I looked at it just a moments ago. I've got a screenshot I'm going to show you guys. That game is still in the charts, but we'll get there. Monster Hunter World had been there since the game's showing at E3 2018, where it picked up Best of Show at Game Critics Awards. That's awesome. At the time of writing, Resident Evil 2 Remake had a Metacritic score of 91 on both PS4 and Xbox One. In addition, its one-shot demo has been downloaded almost 5 million times. So if we want to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? We want to tell them, hey, your game performed this well. 11 million copies, either both the one-shot demo or the full game. And it's unfortunate one-shot demo is literally 30 minutes of gameplay, and then that's it. But that's incredible. That's impressive for a game that wasn't even released. 5 million for a demo. People, I don't know how that translated into sales, but I would think it translated quite well, considering. And then our last one from gamesindustry.biz. Capcom, we prefer a game that got a 9 and sold less than a 6, but sold more. So they're saying they want the best of the best for their game, and they would prefer it sold less than making a 6 and being like, shilling shit to the consumer. So that's a good thing. I can understand and respect that, and that's great. And we're gonna go to that screenshot I was talking about just moments ago. But that screenshot really says a lot, right? You've got your typical, always gonna be at the top, but you can see right about here, you got Monster Hunter World. This is a screenshot, so I can't highlight anything, but this is a screenshot of Monster Hunter World with 35,000 current players as of taking that screenshot. It is 4:26 on Tuesday in Japan. February, what is this? The 5th? I don't know my dates anymore. But that's incredible. That game has been out since September and is still performing very well. And then you have Monster Hunter, or not Monster Hunter, but Ark, Rust, Football, Unturned. You have a lot of people playing all these other games, but Resident Evil is still up there. If I had to count, I'm probably guessing the top 20 or 25. And that's still very good considering there isn't much content to that game. And this is, again, Tuesday, February 5th at 4:30 in the afternoon, while it's midnight West Coast in the States and 2 a.m. East Coast in the States and 7 a.m. in the UK. So that is impressive. 7:30. All of those are 30, right? So that being said, 15,000 people on right now is incredible. And it makes me wonder what it would be like if it was daylight and daytime and people were getting off work and wanting to play a little bit of Resident Evil before they took care of the rest of their adult responsibilities for the evening. But that being said, that was the article. That's what's going on. And if you want to make your voice heard, tell them. Tell them by sharing this video, clicking like, subscribe, and passing it around to your friends saying, hey, look, this is what's going on. You want to see more Resident Evil? Speak up. Tweet them, Send them a tweet on fucking Twitter. They would hear that post on the subreddit, post on our gaming. Make your voice heard. But in the meantime, I'm Laz. This has been interesting to say the least, as it's a little rough, and I'll catch you guys next time. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter and Twitch, and me. I also have a Discord that I've set up for my Twitch specifically. So please feel free to check those down below. I'll leave it in the pinned comment, and I'd like to hear what you guys think. Do you want more Resident Evil? I want more Resident Evil, but I want more Resident Evil that's scary. Resident Evil 7 wasn't scary for me, so yeah. Take it easy. Catch you guys next time.